have seen a lot of hacks, ransomware attacks in the U.S. recently. And with me is Alain, who is the founder and CEO of GlobeX Data, to talk about that and how secure their product may be able to prevent some of these things. So great to see you again.
Great seeing you, Jane, and hi to everybody who's watching us.
Yeah. So let's just start with, we've, of course, had SolarWinds. We've had the JBS meat plant attack. That was Brazil, but they have a huge U.S. operation. The Colonial Pipeline. There's been a lot. It felt like a lot there week after week. What's kind of your viewpoint when you see these stories? What are the things that you think about being a privacy expert?
So all of these hacks, and by the way, the JBS affected North American plants too. All of these hacks are essentially happening because the software systems in the world, the global software system that has been built over the past decade or two, has relied a lot more on open source coding. And what's happening now, when you do open source coding, it means that you have a lot of people that can collaborate to improve the service and the code, so they function well. But the problem is that somebody can reverse engineer it. You have hackers that maliciously penetrate a developer group. And essentially, it's like imagine the secret formula of Coca-Cola, right? So, and then you can recreate Coca-Cola or spike Coca-Cola, which is what they do now with hacking. They put malware, they put everything like that. And all of these hacks, they really start with email penetration, because the source of information, the biggest communication style today for businesses is email. So a hacker will get in sometime for several months, watch your email account, trying to get information to see, any kind of thing, from password to your servers all the way to how you process meat, or, what do you do for your pipeline. And what's happening is the email system today is dominated by Google and Microsoft. And the problem is that both have been compromised. We've heard about SolarWinds attack with Microsoft. This is the first time that the source code of Microsoft was stolen. And that's a huge thing, because it used to be that if you have your server and you have email exchange from Microsoft and you kept it in your own environment, you were safe. And people used to say, well, I don't want to put my email on the cloud, I'm going to have my own environment. That's no longer the case. When you can reverse engineering something, but then you're in trouble. And the big companies now are interested in data mining and selling your data, not necessarily protecting it.
So is there anything that can be done about this at all?
Not a huge amount, because we have been used to the everything connected to everything philosophy. So if you look, let's say you want to log into a website, you're always prompted, you want to log in with your Google account or your Twitter or your Facebook account. And it's easy, because just push a button, you don't need to remember anything. It's like the old days, we had to remember phone numbers. Today, we don't have to remember any phone number. And it's the same concept with logging in. It used to be you had to remember a little bit your login. Now you just connect with synchronized, single sign-on. That's a big problem. It's a Pandora's box. And this is why it's secure. For example, we do things differently. We have always put walls between systems. And there's a good reason for it, and now it's becoming more apparent. Yes, you may have to do one extra step to log in, but at the end of the day, your data is going to be protected. So it's not a very hopeful thing I'm saying. There's not a whole lot we can do. Hackers are becoming more aggressive, and because data is valuable. Data is the new oil. And every month we create new data, and data needs to be fresh. If you steal somebody's data, a month later, it's useless. Every 5-6 days, that data needs to be refreshed, because it's more valuable. It's just like when you get credit card data stolen, after 4 or 5 days, it's useless, because everybody called their credit card company and said, well, change my card. So it's going to be much more aggressive. We have to be very vigilant. And yes, I'm afraid I don't have a whole lot of solution there, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. And it feels like it's whack-a-mole. Like we fix one thing and there they are onto something else. And, both of those companies, JBS and Colonial, paid the ransomware in Bitcoin. I know they got some back from, I think it was Colonial, but as long as they're getting millions, they're going to keep doing this, I imagine.
The big problem is this. So you have the big companies, we call them the big tech, and then they sell data to other smaller companies. These other smaller companies that want to sell you a shampoo or orange juice or what have you, they don't have the capacity to secure their database. So data is floating everywhere to custodians that really don't have the capacity to protect it. And that's where hackers go. If they don't go directly to Microsoft, they may go to clients of Microsoft.
Yeah, well, perfect lead in then. Can you explain to me what Secure can do? And I know your focus is on privacy. So let's talk about how people kind of put privacy, security together. How are they different and what do you do? What's your solution?
So the first thing that we do is we don't use the big tech platforms. We have our own platform, so we're not running our software on Amazon Web Service, like I would say 98% of the software company, from Signal messaging to Dropbox to whoever. Even LinkedIn is using AWS. So we don't use AWS, Microsoft, or Google. That prevents 99% of the hacking to start. We also never developed in open source coding. We have our own proprietary technology, so we don't have millions of developers out there with our secret sauce that they can reverse engineer. So those two concepts are simple to understand. Don't go on the big platform, don't go on open source coding. On top of that, we store everything in Switzerland. Our sister company, the original company that started this whole development, is Swiss. I'm Swiss myself. And in Switzerland, we have the strictest data privacy laws in the world. The data stores only in Switzerland in our own servers. So that's critical. That eliminates a lot of hack. Now in terms of privacy, what we do, we have Secure Messenger, and Secure, which is an email and a messenger app as well. And what we do, we have privacy by design. For example, we have a self-destruct timer on all our messages. And when it does self-destruct, it also destroys in the server in Switzerland. You can send a message to a non-secure user because, well, we have a special technology that does that. So I'm going to send you an instant message, Jane. You don't have Secure Messenger. You're getting an email to chat with me. You click and you chat with me. We don't require phone numbers. So when you download our app, after you sign up, you will never be prompted to put your phone number in our database. And the phone number is also a huge caveat because, everybody, once you have somebody's phone number, that's it. You can get into their phone. And even worse, you can basically go to their entire address book and hack those people too. And it's like a nuclear chain reaction.
Thank you so much, Alain, for joining us. And I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks everyone for watching us.